Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. I cannot emphasize this enough. When I first started playing this game 7 years ago, almost this year, gosh, 7 years. I didn't even know what compensation was. I'd never played a mobile game before. Like, I remember people were asking me when I started YouTube, you call yourself a gamer? And I'm like, no, I don't. I call myself a professor sometimes. I'm sure even that's subjective in its own merit. But, like, I'm not a gamer. The video game system I played most of my life is the Super Nintendo. And I played some 64 once it was like old and I could get one for a discounted price because I had a single mom raising triplets. And then I went over to a buddy's house in high school and played the GameCube. And then I didn't play anything for like 10 years. I was never part of the Wii generation, you know? And everything after that. And the Wii is now really old. So it's funny for me to say that like it's new and it's like really old. So I didn't have any expectations about what other mobile games did, but I remember when I first started playing this game, I would just routinely get a message in the inbox. Like I'd be driving, like let's say I'm going to drive an hour, and I played the game before I left. This was before auto fights, so I'm not going to try to fight in the car. Although I know some people who still try to by driving with their knees. Wouldn't recommend it. And I'd open up the game, and there'd be an in-game inbox message, and it would say, you know, sorry, the game was down. Here's, like, some potions and some revives and an energy refill or two. And I'd be like, when was the game down? I don't remember that, but it was always an apology, and it was always a thank you for playing. It was like, we know that you could be doing anything else with your time, but we appreciate that you're doing this. And it was amazing. And I instantly loved the company that made it, and I just felt this sense of loyalty to the game. And then the game changed hands, and it became the Marvel Casino of Champions with featured Grandmaster crystals and then featured Cavalier crystals, and you know the rest is history now. But it's gotten to the point where the game can go down several times in some months, and there's not even a public acknowledgement that's not on the forums. And eventually we'll get a decent compensation package, but we might have to wait 9 months. And so we have seen throughout the last couple years how a lack of transparency with game issues, and even now when Kabam has basically said mission accomplished, even though it's far from accomplished in terms of fixing the game, has just turned off so many players. It's not how you run a company. I say all this to say that Stakar Ogord, shout out to you, sent me over this. He plays Marvel Strike Force like an hour to an hour and a half, maybe, every once in a while. And he said, Prof, you should talk about this post because they just gave out their July meta event compensation, and it is how I wish MCOC operated. So it said last week, not last month, not last year, last week, there was an issue where a milestone was sending rewards through the inbox that erroneously granted enough points for some players to complete the July Summer of Thunder milestone. While the development team moved quickly to compensate other players to make things equitable, which is also a great thing. Because remember how Kabam won't do that? They'll move to like temporarily ban players that got to do things because the game isn't blaming the players. That's one of my first takeaways from this message already. Like, do they have a Kabam Jax's twin that's writing this? There's actually empathy and heart and personality and like, you know, they're not just blaming players. Unfortunately, that compensation was unintentionally also made available to the players that already got the rewards. Boy, that was a great week for those players, wasn't it? We understand that this issue caused frustration, especially as it occurred leading into an extended weekend here in the U.S. Wow. Extended Halloween weekend. They're bringing up, like, calendar dates in this post. Who writes this? Kabam Mike, are you taking notes? The Marvel Strike Force team understands the competitive aspect of the game and the importance of maintaining that integrity. Therefore, we will be sending players level 14 and above 50,000 Mjolnir. I always mispronounce this. We're just going to say fragments. To complete the Summer of Thunder milestone. The inbox message will expire after 7 days. Additionally, there will be more tiers and rewards added to the associated leaderboard's milestone rewards above 50,000 and up to 100,000 points, allowing players the opportunity to earn the full set of rewards twice. That's amazing. We greatly appreciate the players that voiced their feedback so we could discuss the matter and address it accordingly. By the way, that one sentence might be overlooked, but it's really important to say, hey, thank you for letting us know, player base. Now, who knows? Maybe the player base said some things that could have gotten them banned on the MCOC forums. Maybe they were so passionate that they were being ugly. But they aren't like throwing the player base under the bus in the sentence. They're not being like, we greatly appreciate the players that voice their feedback, though we want to keep it constructive and not have it be something that denigrates the toxicity of society. You know, like we always see that in MCC forums. And I'm not saying that those posts aren't merited by what's typed. You know, there are a lot of people who are keyboard warriors that go on and just type nasty stuff. But in a post that you're supposed to compensate players, it's not the time and place to bring that up. You know, you just kind of have to roll with the punches. We strive to offer the best experience possible. We have fallen short of delivering that recently. Holy cow, what a sentence. We have fallen short of delivering that recently. This should be in every textbook for PR in like management courses. They have given, what I understand, a very generous amount of rewards to the player base. And those of you who play Marvel Strike Force, please in the comments let me know exactly what this means in MCOC terms for you, because I, of course, don't play the game and don't know. They have taken accountability multiple times at the beginning, at the end. They're not blaming the player base. They're thanking them for their feedback. Like, when I talk about Kabam and their responses that should be for the community, sometimes people are like, Prof, your expectations are too high. You're a college professor that's dealing with textbook kind of stuff. It's unrealistic to expect this company that makes this game to provide such messages. And I have always pushed back on that narrative, and I think Kabam Jax has been such an amazing voice to the community that has helped show what it could be like and what it should be like to hear from the team. But this message is a Marvel game. This message is written by a team of developers. Like, they should just print this out. They should send out a company-wide email at Kabam and just say, hey, this is what the Marvel Strike Force response team did, and it was met with 100% satisfaction on every forum. We should do this now with our player base. The leadership of the development team is currently auditing our processes. Wow. And working quickly to address the links in the chain that contributed to a number of the recent problems. These issues are learning experiences for the team, and changes are being made to address weak spots. This includes, but is not limited to, improving testing requirements for quality assurance, longer lead times and more rigor around data implementation, development of additional tools to mitigate errors. We will always endeavor to be better and raise the bar. That's another sentence that's so good and so needed. The Boundless Entertainment Studio appreciates that Marvel Strike Force only exists thanks to the enthusiasm and passion of all our players. Amen. We pay careful attention to your feedback, the positive and the critic. Or the critical? I don't know. We appreciate all of it because we know that, like us, you care deeply about this game. We will never take your time and your passion for granted. Damn straight! As players ourselves, that's nice to see, we'll continue to listen and take action to make this the best game possible. Thank you. And there you go. I have heard a lot of crappy sermons at church pulpits for the past several years, and I can't really think of any sermon that positively moved me as much as this compensation message by Marvel Strike Force. Everything about this was good. Everything about this, and by the way, they're not saying, hey, it's a gift. It's an unintentional gift. Log back in. They're calling it, in big words, compensation, because they know they made a mistake. Also, I don't know how good he is in the game, but the fact that Gambit is the biggest player in this banner, and he's my favorite X-Men, little badass points, gotta be honest. Wow. I am so moved by this. I am so moved. Again, Stakar Ogor, thank you for sending this to me. I never would have known about it. Marvel Strike Force, you get an A++, positive Buzz Lightyear Infinity and Beyond grade from me for how you handled this. Kabam, take notes. Even if some of your developers wrote the same thing, let them write it on your game, because this is what we not only expect but deserve as an MCOC community, and you have fallen short time and time again of addressing compensation posts. Also, kudos to them. Last thing. This was a week. Last week, not last month, not in, like, what response time? Beautiful.